Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Here's my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he is your co-host, Sandro Luketic. And today we're talking 1998's Can't Hardly Wait. We assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. Whew! Sandro, I have seen this movie numerous times, but not recently, and I wish I had before I recommended we cover it for episode 100, my friend.
Why?
Because this is amazing. We made it to 100 episodes without killing each other, talking about movies that I thought you would never watch, and actually having fun doing it. And then I go and bring this mess into it. What are your memories of this film?
I'm still flabbergasted by you saying that you're surprised we didn't kill each other. We're not in the same province.
With words. You're pretty brutal with words.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, but hey, it is our 100th episode. If people want to commemorate it, we got t-shirts for sale. Head to bsbargainbin.com, click that merch tab, show us your appreciation.
What a plug.
That's all I got.
But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff up there. I mean, I'm shamelessly self-promoting with my BS Garbage Bin shirt. I love it. But I completely lost track of what I was going to say.
I don't know, something about you regretting picking this movie?
Yes, thank you. Back on track.
Back on track is not what we do, man.
No, I loved this movie growing up. I have not seen it probably since 2002, 2003. Not the movie I remember. What about you? When was the last time you saw this? Because I'm pretty sure Can't Hardly Wait is a movie that anybody who was born in the 80s has seen at some point.
Dude, you know I never know the answer to that.
But you have.
Oh yeah, like myself and my twin sister actually watched this movie a few times together. I know she's also a big fan of it, which I don't think I've ever mentioned that I have a twin sister on the show before.
No.
But I do, and we both loved this movie as teenagers and so forth when it came out. When the last time was that I saw it, though, I have no idea.
Is it safe to say that times have changed since the last viewing of this movie?
Well, yes, time is a constantly flowing thing. It's not cyclical, my friend.
That's not what
Obviously,
I fucking meant.
Things have changed.
You know that's not what I meant.
You history majors, I don't know.
Society.
Well, yeah, society has changed, obviously.
Immensely.
If you watch this movie today, you get to a certain scene and people are like, I can't believe this is a thing.
A certain scene?
They had booths with phones in them?
Okay, all right. This movie should have been called Misogynists and Other Assholes.
It's a typical 90s teen movie. If you really think about it, it really is like a dime a dozen from the time.
Oh my God. It is. They were everywhere at this time. I think the best example of this style of film is probably American Pie.
Yeah, which I'm sure if I went back and watched it, probably aged even more poorly.
Oh no, it totally holds up very well. Nothing wrong with that movie whatsoever. I was shocked.
There are still some things from it that are very relevant today. I don't know about this one.
Yeah. It's... This is... I don't think it's going to be a regular episode for us. I think there's going to be more conversation than just going, spot by spot of the plot here. Because every time I try and make a note, I just be stumped as to what I watched. And how it just wouldn't play out today.
To be fair, we've talked about this before. Comedies are never a good choice for this because a lot of it is tough to talk about if you're not seeing it in action.
It's true. There is a lot going on in this movie at all times.
You know what there is to see in this movie, though?
What?
Actors. Specifically, actors that have been in movies we have reviewed before.
Yeah, I really screwed myself on this one.
So, Ben, who has been in other movies that we have reviewed? Can't hardly wait to hear your answers.
Funny. All right, I had to pull up a list of the cast for this because I know there's a lot.
That's kind of cheating.
Fucking sue me, man. There's no other way I'm going to be able to come close to this. So, of course, Ethan Embry.
Yeah.
Empire Records.
Correct.
Late Phases, Night of the Lone Wolf.
Correct.
Evolver.
Correct.
Is just the three?
That's... Hey, 3 bangers.
Okay, yeah. Oh, no, they are amazing films. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Of course.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
That's it.
Yes. Seth Green.
Correct.
Airborne.
Correct.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No, he was in the show, not the movie.
He was in the movie.
What?
We talked about this. I remember this one more than any of them. He's just an extra.
An extra that they don't even show him from the front because it was cut out. That doesn't count.
You've nailed me on worst, man.
No, at least their face is shown on camera.
Okay. Airborne. Is that it?
No.
How many?
2 more.
Shit. I don't know.
You don't know?
No. That's what I just said.
Idle Hands.
Fuck.
And he had a very small role, but definitely on screen in Pump Up the Volume.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't feel bad about missing that one. Idle Hands is unforgivable, though.
No, but, I mean, in Pump Up the Volume, it wasn't a Buffy the Vampire Slayer situation. Like, it is very much him on camera.
Yeah. Oh, God. Who else? Not Jason Segel or Clea Duvall or Jamie Presley. How many more are there?
0.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my God. This movie has so many famous people in it. I was scared.
Oh, tell me about it. Whenever we do one of these trivia things now, I go through and I click on everybody in the cast. I had to actually start limiting myself that, like, if they don't have a picture on IMDb, I'm not going to look at it. Mm-hmm. And there was so many to look through in this. And there was one other one that I skipped out because the foreign exchange student was literally like a background in something else. I don't even remember. And I'm like, I'm not even going to include that. It's so minimal. But I had to look through pages and pages of IMDb listings. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was worried. I'm surprised that we haven't covered more of these performers, but what are you going to do?
Not much. What we're going to do is get into this movie now.
Sweet. Opening credits over a graduation montage, which I feel like has been done to death. It is very 90s, though. We get multiple voiceovers gossiping over the big party that's happening that night, as well as a recent breakup between Mike Dexter and Amanda Beckett. We're introduced to our lead, Preston Myers, played by Ethan Embry, and we're introduced to him and other characters with yearbook entries.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. But it feels like I've seen this numerous times. It doesn't feel original.
I can't think of a time I've seen it before.
Maybe I'm just thinking of Animal House. I don't know.
The nice thing is that it is a good way to introduce the characters a little bit further. You get a still shot. Everybody seems to have their own soundtrack song when it's playing. It gives you a little bit of their interests, what their future aspirations are, a little bit more of a look into their personality because they have a quote. I think I've seen movies before where they'll show pictures or they'll freeze frame on a character when they're entering the movie. Mm-hmm. But doing it as a yearbook entry and giving a little bit extra there lets you learn the characters a little bit more.
Agreed. Well, it forces you to. Preston takes the news of Amanda's breakup as a sign from the heavens that this is finally his opportunity to confront the love of his life.
I mean, when is it not a sign when it's coming from a naked man in a robe?
That's true.
Who, by definition, is not naked if he's wearing a robe.
Also true.
Everybody's like, oh my god, he's naked under his robe. Yeah, I'm naked under my clothes all the time, man.
A problem right off the bat here is that our protagonist, our lead, the guy we're supposed to identify with, is completely delusional.
He's love-struck.
Without reason, though.
Just leave him alone, man. He's a 20-year-old in high school. What do you
We also meet his best friend, Denise, played by Lauren Ambrose. And I'm kind of torn on Denise. Do you have a stance on her? Like, she seems like she's trying to be the voice of reason, yet is incredibly jaded at the same time, so is unreliable.
She's way too judgmental to be the voice of reason. And I don't understand how these two are friends.
It doesn't make sense. But, I mean, it kind of works on film, though, because it's just throwing two different types of characters together and just telling us to go with it.
Well, it definitely helps because their conversations give you two sides of the same scenario, like her more realistic viewpoint, his dreamer viewpoint. Obviously, the origin of their friendship doesn't make sense, but the demographic of it lets you see both sides of the coin here. Agreed.
That's a great way of summing it up. When I said that Preston was delusional, this story really kind of backs it up. Because he relays the story of the first day that he saw Amanda, which was 4 years ago. And I can't say that I don't like this scene where he's late for school for the first time ever. He had missed the bus.
It's October of his freshman year.
Yeah. He gets out of his father's car and sees Amanda ending up late for school as well. And her ending up in the same classroom as him. And then weird things like him noticing that she too was eating a strawberry Pop-Tart just as he was. Weird little details. But then the accurate depiction of teen disappointment when he misses the opportunity to show her around the school because Mike Dexter volunteered first.
Well, he was too busy narrating to the camera.
Yes, there is a lot of breaking the fourth wall.
We're supposed to believe he missed his opportunity, but he's telling us the story. Couldn't have been talking to, like... You see the actual time where it happened, where it's not a flashback? He's just talking to the back of a chair.
And that's how this has to work, right?
Everybody around him, there he is, talking to furniture again.
I like how they don't show her face in this scene. I'm not sure why, but her face is constantly being concealed, whether by her hair or people handing a book back and forth.
Because we don't know who it is.
Yeah, we have no clue. She's not on the poster or in the trailers or on the case of the VHS or in our case, DVD or Blu-ray. Nobody knows that Jennifer Love Hewitt's in this movie.
No.
The introduction, though, to Mike Dexter, played by Peter Fasinelli. I say Fasinelli, it could be Fasinelli. I don't fucking know. Everyone just knows him as the older guy from Twilight now.
Not me.
You've never seen the Twilight films?
No, didn't even know he was in it.
Yeah, I watched the first one. It was terrible.
Okay, good.
And we also meet his jock friends, Sean Patrick Thomas. I don't know if you've seen Save the Last Dance. And
nope.
Freddie Rodriguez, also a fantastic actor. But I want to point out the other friend is Shannon Rowe, who you might know from the amazingly successful film Biodome. Mike's reasoning for breaking up with Amanda. Sandra, what is it?
Because he's going to college, and there's going to be a lot of college women there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so shallow. I got nothing else.
It doesn't get any better, though. It gets so much worse. His three friends also decide it's best to break up with their girlfriends, too, and follow suit.
His friends are stupid.
They're all stupid. They're all complete idiots.
They're like, oh, Mike Dexter is a god. Mike Dexter is a role model. He told you to break up with your hot girlfriends. What What makes him so great? You guys are stupid.
Everybody in this movie is just so fucking vapid, man. Like, it's hard. It's a really hard watch. Even next, we cut to William Lichter, played by Charlie Korsmo, who I only really recognize as Jack from Hook. And he's fed up with being bullied by Mike and is plotting revenge with his two friends because William is the school nerd, apparently, him and his two X-Files buddies.
Everybody is an exaggerated caricature of what they are supposed to represent.
Yes. To a detriment, I would say. He goes off on a mini rant about the different points in his academic career where Mike has bullied him. He's held on to everything that Mike has sabotaged. Shows it basically to the camera, play by play. This kid is obsessed with this bully. But
he's been tormenting him for 4 years.
Yeah, but do you hang on to objects just to remind you of how this guy bullied you?
I mean, to this day, I still have objects from people that bullied me in high school. They'll get theirs.
Whoa, okay. Slow down. I was going to bring up a story here, which might be a little too much now. But in high school, now keep in mind, when I graduated high school, it was right before Columbine. There was a kid that not a lot of people really knew, kept to himself a lot. And I got pulled into the office one day by the principal, who sat me down and asked what I had done to this guy. I didn't even know who this kid was. Like, I'd know him to see him, but I didn't know his name. Apparently, this kid had dropped a note, what a teacher thought was a note, and they grabbed it, opened it up, and looked at it. And it was a list of people he hated. And my name was on this list, and they were nervous about what this could lead to. Dark fucking times, man, because I don't remember anything. I'm never really mean to people.
I mean, I am all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't need to write down the people I hate. I'm a normal person. I just harbor that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have one name on my list, and it's you.
Oh, I made the list. Oh, I'm number one.
But out of this dark story into a bizarre fucking plan from William.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go into the plan, or do you want me to do it?
He's going to have his two buddies, who clearly just do whatever he says for some reason, hide on top of the pool house. He's going to lure Mike and one of his jock friends behind the pool house. How he does that is not planned in any way.
No.
I was not sure how that was going to work. And they were going to jump on him and his friend, knock them out with the chloroform that they made in Chem Lab, and then take pictures of them in lewd positions. Yeah. It's a terrible idea.
It's horrible. A horrible idea. And
like, jumping ahead, just as, you know, we're breaking all of our rules today.
Yeah, go for it.
When they actually do it at the end of the movie, they're like, oh man, it worked. And I just thought, so you don't know if the chloroform is going to work? So in this situation, you could have dropped on them, the chloroform not work, and then have two jocks standing right in front of you that you just jumped on.
Beat the shit out of them.
Just beat the shit out of them. How is this a good idea? You guys are supposed to be smart.
Man, less than 8 minutes into this movie, and we already have 3 storylines.
Okay.
And that is a problem for me because they just keep building and building and building subplot upon subplot. And that's
there's no way they can add more storylines.
Oh God, that's the only way we can fill an hour and 40 minutes of this movie is just ridiculous storylines that don't really go anywhere. And we already have so many characters to follow. And I think that's kind of a cheap move to distract the audience. Because like you can get away with that in movies like Pulp Fiction because they're written really well and the characters are pretty interesting. These are just annoying teenagers, but yes, I understand we're looking at 2 different audiences here. And this is emphasized when we get to Special K Kenny Fisher, played by Seth Green, who I fucking hate from the beginning to the end of this movie. Even though we're not supposed to, he's got some sort of redemption arc of character anyway. But even Wikipedia describes him as a wannabe thug who plans on losing his virginity by the end of the night. That sums his character up perfectly. Oh, obviously you have thoughts on Special K. What's going on here?
Even his friends must think he's a loser.
They do.
Who walks around with that backpack?
Oh, yeah. His love kit.
Like,
He has a plan that's going to go as well as Williams. Actually, his plan kind of goes better than Williams.
At least we get our first look of Clive Owen. Is it Clive Owen?
No,
Owen.
Chris Owen.
Chris Owen in the background stealing stuff. Pardon?
As Klepto Kid, yeah.
Yeah.
He pops up in and out of the movie. It's fun background stuff, which is really all this movie is, just shit constantly happening in the background.
I'm really curious about his storyline.
They would probably ruin that too.
What does he do with all this stuff that he steals?
House full of random shit.
Mm-hmm.
11 minutes, 9 seconds in, we're at the party. The movie's not wasting time getting there in the story. They're definitely wasting our time, though. Preston introduces the letter, which is incredibly sappy. His love letter to Amanda, which is also kind of creepy. We get Barry Manilow's Mandy playing on the radio, and he also takes this as a sign that he needs to talk to Amanda that night. Denise telling him that's not the case. And honestly, like, if God exists, he's fucking with this kid so hard.
And Denise's, the look on her face is just like, come on, man. Like, just
she
stop.
thinks her friend's crazy.
Just, yeah. Like,
and he is, man. Like, I want to love this kid to death. At the time I did, I'm like, I see so much of young me in this guy. And then as the movie progresses, I'm like, fuck, I hope I wasn't that guy. Cut to Yearbook Girl. One of the many cameos from, I don't know, she was in like season 2 of Sabrina at this point, I think, Melissa Joan Hart.
I don't know the timeline, but
there's a lot of young stars who, if they haven't made it yet, are on the verge of making it big.
Is this a cameo? Like, she's in the movie a decent amount.
Yeah, I don't think they give her a name.
No, a lot of them don't have names.
That's true. We also get Breckin Meyer as the lead singer of Love Burger, which is one of the stupidest band names I've ever heard.
I bet you all the fans flipped for them.
Fuck. He's back. He's back with the puns. After a brief hiatus, they've made their way back. But also Donald Faison in the band.
I love Donald Faison.
He's been in so many great things, man. I know one of your favorite movies of all time, which apparently you don't remember.
I can't remember everything.
Clueless. I know that's not one of your favorite movies of all time. He's in Remember the Titans.
I know.
He's in Waiting to Exhale, Josie and the Pussycats. I know him best from Scrubs.
Right? I've watched that entire series multiple times through.
And he's solid.
Oh, yeah, Turk. Love it.
William leaves his friends on the roof of the pool house and enters the party doing his best attempt to fit in. And he's not worried because from the internet, he learned how much he could drink and stay sober.
He tells the friends that he will bring Mike around at 0030 hours.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, I thought there was a follow-up to that.
No, it's just at one point in the movie when Preston's talking to the angel, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah. That's the point. Like they spend their night laying on the roof of the pool house.
He is very late.
Yeah. He's absolutely wasted, which honestly I think he does a good job of playing.
Mm-hmm.
The movie absolutely ruins More Human Than Human by White Zombie for me by using it as Mike's intro music.
He just shoves Melissa Joan Hart.
Wow. My next note just says Yearbook Girl eats shit.
And they even put in a sound effect of things crashing. He just knocked her out. Jeez.
And then we get even more famous people, the three girlfriends, Beth, Cindy, and Rachel. I hate how they're referred to in credits. They do have names, but then they're followed up with girlfriend number 1, 2, and 3. But it's Jamie Presley, Tamaya Jones, and Jennifer Lyons. All fantastic, but all super annoying in this movie. But we get Amanda entering the party next to another one of my favorite songs from then, Six Underground by the Sneaker Pimps. Soundtrack, pure nostalgia.
Oh, it's fantastic. And like I said, everybody has like their own song. When they're introduced, when they're getting their yearbook picture, everybody's got like their own song. And it's fantastic because they cater it to their personalities.
One thing that I include multiple times in this movie that I really hate, though, is Smash Mouth. It annoys me so much, but at the same time, it's fitting for this movie because this movie also annoys me so much.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
My grade 9 yearbook. My friend AJ signed it. Smash Mouth sucks.
Good. They did then, they do now.
That's literally what he signed my yearbook with.
Preston leaves Denise to go talk to Amanda, enters the room, and somehow completely vanishes from the scene.
He hides. He's afraid.
Yeah.
He's so much like you.
Sadly, yeah. Yeah, he is. I like how Denise ensures him that she'll be fine on her own, puts on a false front, and is visibly awkward, which I think is a very realistic representation of strong-headed teens at the time.
She showed up just to get ditched within minutes.
Exactly. And I've been in this scenario numerous times before, but she seems immediately awkward, and I just would use that as fuel to put myself in situations and meet people. The interaction between Amanda and the girlfriends is painful to watch.
Yes.
Like, I know, yeah, it's a teen film, but why does Amanda only now realize that these are some of the most vapid people in the world?
Yeah, it's not like she just was dating Mike. She had to be friends with all of his friends' girlfriends, too. Exactly.
But it's almost as if they've never actually taken the time to talk to each other to realize these people are idiots.
Mm-hmm.
I guess ignorance really is bliss in this case. I mean, I'm sure we've all been there and just never noticed it.
No, I was always the smart and cool one.
I bet you were, sir. Klepto Kid has made his way from the convenience store to the party.
Yeah, Clive Owens.
Clive Owen making his American film debut.
You know I suck with names.
Cringy Kenny makes numerous attempts to hit on girls, and it is so painful to watch. Just like William drinking for the first time. I've never seen anybody have that reaction to alcohol.
I do kind of like the scene where he's like walks up and he's like, is this the beer? Like, what does it look like, butthead? And
yeah. Would you like one?
It's hilarious because it's like, up until this moment, nobody's asked you to drink. So your friends are like, how are you going to fit in? So just don't bring attention to it. Maybe you make it all night without drinking.
No, I've learned this from the internet.
Yes.
I can imbibe.
Would be impossible for you to just grab one of those red cups and fill it with non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, well, these were all see-through cups. Close watching, Sandra, that's what it's called.
I mean, I went to tons of parties when I was in high school, and I didn't drink, and nobody had a problem with it.
Yeah, but you weren't William.
No, I was smarter and more...
I don't know where this is going, man.
Smarter and more good-looking.
Also, probably true, yes.
I'm a looker.
Yeah, you are. you handsome motherfucker. But the beer's gone bad. Nobody drink the beer.
It tastes fine to me.
Party montage, including Clea Duvall. Didn't expect to see her in this movie. Don't remember her in this movie at all. Kenny keeps striking out. William gets increasingly drunk because we all know that's going to happen.
I think this was one of my favorite Kenny pickup attempts, if it's the scene that I'm thinking about, when he asks the girl to dance.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm allergic. And the way he just stops. He's like, allergic? To dancing? Yep, and she walks away, and I'm like, I kind of feel bad for Kenny on that one.
See, I don't, man.
But that's such a
I get
burn.
that's what it is, a real burn, but he's so unlikable. But maybe not at the time. I don't know. Like I said,
here's the thing. All right, I see a lot of the pickup attempts, and I want him to strike out. And he's like, "Hey, you want the special K or whatever?" All of those times, I want him to strike out. In this situation, he literally just walks up dancing and says, "Hey, do you want to dance?" Like the most normal pickup line he has in the entire movie, and he gets the biggest rejection out of all of them.
Chester Cheetah.
Would have been better if they just said no.
Or just walk away.
Yeah, sure.
William is getting very drunk.
Yes.
Moving on.
Vital points here.
Well, yeah, because he's absolutely wasted by the end of the movie.
Yeah. Luckily, though, he plays a drunk person very well.
He does, actually.
Yeah, I find his delivery intoxicating.
Oh, not as good as the last one, but well done.
Oh, they'll just get worse.
Oh, yeah, I know they will. Also, talking about him playing a drunk convincingly, apparently Ethan Embry doesn't remember filming this movie because he was so stoned the entire time. Such as a random bit of trivia, believe it or not. Preston's near encounter with Amanda on the couch, I thought originally was kind of cute.
Yeah, when he knocks over the candelabras and he's trying to fumbly pick them up, and she kind of smirks. It's endearing. There's a charm to it.
Yeah, they share a couple of smiles, and looks, but then her cousin comes in.
No. Preston's friend, the remember that
Preston's
time
friend
guy,
embarrasses him. Yes.
Yeah, and then he walks away because he has to get away from this conversation where this guy just does not read the room well at all.
Ever. And I believe that's when Amanda's cousin comes in and starts talking to her.
Yeah, now he has the opening because Preston left. He was tired of this guy regurgitating these old stories to him.
There's so many creepy, cringy elements in this movie. It's going to get so much worse. I like that we're starting to see Mike get angry that his boys aren't following his lead and breaking up with their girlfriends. But that's completely fucking ruined right away.
What a shitty friend. He wants his buddies to be unhappy. You guys are happy with your girlfriends? Let me ruin it for you.
It's an inkling, too, that he's starting to realize that he's made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But his friend's reasoning for not breaking up with his specific girlfriend is because her parents are out of town and they have the house to themselves, and their parents' bed has a mirror on the ceiling.
It's information I would not want to know about my parents.
No, but it's also information I don't want in this movie.
All right, then moving on. We can reflect on that scene later.
You weren't kidding. They are getting worse. Denise is further embarrassed on a couch, and Loveburger breaks up. That's fast. These are the fucking jot notes that I'm doing now because there's no fucking point.
I don't get why Breckenmeyer is so angry. So they want to wear their own shirt. Who cares? It's not a big deal.
He cares. It's not
it's
cool,
really not
Sandro.
A big deal. Wear your own shirt. It's advertising. Who cares?
Shameless self-promotion is not a good thing. And that's why I don't wear my BS Bargain Bin shirt.
Which you can get on our website by going to the merch tab. But, I mean, you're a high school band. It's not like you're some world touring, stadium filling band. Then, okay, yeah, maybe don't wear your own shirt.
I would totally wear my own shirt then. This leads... Sorry. Things get worse, as Kenny hits on an emotionally distraught girl in one of the creepiest scenes of the movie.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I wanted nothing to do with this scene.
No. It makes you straight up hate Kenny. But this leads to him and Denise getting locked in the bathroom upstairs.
Well, not quite yet. First, he goes in there by himself to get ready and read the Kama Sutra book now that he could have done before. Timing, man.
There's a lot of what we see on screen that we don't need. And I've said it before. It's like sight gags that don't really go anywhere and honestly aren't funny. And I remember not laughing at this when I first saw the movie. But yes, eventually Denise gets upstairs and goes into the bathroom, not realizing that the door is broken, closes it behind her, and it's locked. But again, a decent bit of story where nobody else at the party is allowed upstairs, so nobody finds them, gives them an actual setting to spend the majority of the time left in this movie bonding, if you will.
Correct.
Cameo. I don't even think it's a cameo. Eric Balfour hasn't been in a movie at this point, but Eric Balfour is Stoner guy. There's a lot of people in this movie from 6 Feet Under, so it's kind of cool to see them all beforehand.
Is that the guy who eats the brownie off of Denise's face?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know who that is, but okay.
Yeah, I know. He was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake of 2003. Nope. You probably haven't seen that. No, okay. I'm just going to fucking stop. There's no point in me even referencing movies anymore.
Hey, I've watched at least 100 movies, okay?
That's true. The nerds are still on the roof, and William is partying hard inside the house. Amanda's reasoning for dating Mike. How do you feel about it? Because I have thoughts.
Yeah, high school kids are stupid.
Is it stupidity, though? I think it's heartfelt and believable. Being a nobody and moving to a new town where the coolest guy in school wants to date you, which immediately turns her into Little Miss Popular. And
yeah, but for 4 years, I mean...
Yeah, you think you'd smarten up.
I could definitely see why she would have started dating him. But
yeah,
if it was that bad, 4 years is a long time to not realize it.
Oh, I know I've said this before. I don't know if it's been on the podcast or not, but culture shock, a term often used for a negative effect, is sometimes a drug, man. Going into a new environment with a feeling of immediate acceptance, almost reverence, is a crazy high and incredibly blinding.
I'm going to have to just take your word for it. I don't know. I've never been in that situation because I was always so popular that everybody wanted to be my friend.
Perfect. It's also super disturbing that she confides in a family member, in Cousin Ron, allowing herself to speak her mind, but we learn that he's actually just a predator.
This guy's awful.
Yeah. Yeah, my next note just says, fuck, dude.
She should have known the second she saw him wearing that shirt that he was
I was going to say, I have my note just like, you can tell by the shirt.
This is not a man you trust.
Next, we have Preston's poolside soliloquy about Amanda and the love letter. Just driving that point home. And then we get a punchline by the exchange student, who I haven't mentioned before, but we don't need to now either. Sorry.
Well, the stoner guy that ate the brownie was the one teaching him these terms when they first arrived at the party.
Yeah.
So. And
like I said at the beginning, I assume you've already seen this movie if you're listening, so you know what I'm talking about.
Because, there's no way that the exchange student who's graduating from high school would have been there long enough to learn some English.
It's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Taught him in Russian the entire time he was there.
Next, we get something that... actually, before I get to that, Preston makes a second attempt to talk to Amanda, but walks in on Cousin Ron on top of her. So let's just move on.
Mm-hmm.
We get something that I actually love about this movie, and it's really stupid. And that's Preston throwing the letter in the garbage and leaving the party, and jumping ahead a few scenes, how the letter ends up in front of Amanda. That's the kind of fun this movie should be, and it isn't. Mike hits on Selma Blair, who I also forgot was in this movie. And Kenny and Denise start bonding in the bathroom.
Well, yeah, they have plenty of time to discuss how they flushed away their relationship.
Oh, you got to step up your game, man. They're getting very... Okay. Here, again, we touch on themes of reconnecting and the negative effects of popularity. That's a conversation that could go on forever, but I don't think they ever outright address in this movie. And I don't know if it was actually intentional or if it's just something I picked up on and it made me super angry. Distraught Preston, sitting on the hood of his car at the football field, is the scene we get next. An inner monologue tries to rationalize his feelings. And I had mentioned earlier, but like the older I get, the less I can sympathize with him, which is interesting to me because I'm pretty sure I did the exact same thing at his age. Also, how he took Mandy by Barry Manilow coming on the radio as like, when's the last time you heard Manilow on the radio? It's like a sign.
10 years.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's Manilow's 55th birthday, so they're playing Barry Manilow all day on the radio leading up to taking questions for him at his live concert in Japan, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
So now it's Preston's attempt to find out if Mandy really was a song about his dog. Back at the party, Amanda reads the letter and is completely stunned.
She reads pretty quick.
She does.
Or the letter didn't really say very much. I don't know.
Me love Amanda, Preston.
Yeah, like we don't actually ever find out what's in the letter. They reference what's in the letter. It's like a tribute to the greatest letter ever written.
Tenacious D style. I really, really love that she is so moved by the letter, but has no idea who Preston is.
Yeah, like we saw it coming. The writing was on the wall. Sorry, not on the wall, on the letter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of cringe, Sandro. It's truly heartbreaking and a rare moment of actual emotion for the audience. We get one of our favorite, or I say our, I'm going to assume it's one of your favorite parts too. It's the introduction to Jenna Elfman as credited as Angel Stripper.
I hate it.
I hate it too.
I hate that she hangs up the phone. That's the only part that I hate.
Why?
Because who does that? That's just totally rude. First of all, you don't know this kid. He could be a psychopath. Okay? He is at a phone booth at 2 a.m. trying to call Barry Manilow.
In Japan.
Your first reaction might be like, this guy might not be totally mentally stable, yet you reach in and hang up the phone. Like, come on, that's just rude. I get you're having a bad night, but...
Oh, she's having a terrible night.
But come on. Like, he even says this will only take a minute.
No time for that. She needs a cab home.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of what she did there. She can burn in hell.
Jesus. But I mean, she, like, her story about like how her night's going, it even just like it just amplifies the fact that almost every single guy, no, pretty much every guy in this movie is a complete asshole.
Preston's not an asshole.
I don't know. I think he's
a dreamer. He might be a little delusional, but he's not an asshole. He doesn't outwardly treat anybody poorly.
No, he doesn't. You're correct on that. I think he's a teenage. He's a teenage guy.
Yeah.
And there are issues that come up later on with that.
Inevitably. But he's not an asshole of a teenager guy.
No. I like their back and forth, actually. Jenna Elfman adds a lot of credit to this movie, even though she's barely in it. But I like their conversations they have. I really like them bonding over her story of being infatuated with Scott Baio.
I love when she sits down and she starts saying that, and he goes to tell her, like, you don't have to sit here, and then cuts himself off. Scott Baio, like, he does it really well, where just like he's really thrown off by it, but he's distraught, so he took him a minute to click in. I really like that.
Yeah, me too. And I believe this is where it's kind of finished with a punchline about like her thinking that he's infatuated with Barry Manilow, and that's why he was trying to call, and that's why he was so upset.
Mm-hmm.
But going on from such a serious scene to an even more serious scene, there's a major fight between Loveburger, and the band breaks up. Yeah,
well, I mean, they all have very good points. The attire should have been coordinated ahead of time.
That's true. Got the hat, you got the Vampire Lestat outfit. Why is this in the movie?
I don't know, just jokes.
I guess, but they're not even good. Maybe they were when we were teenagers. I don't know. Next scene, Paradise City. William does karaoke.
He's so bad.
It's terrible.
Like, I remember this scene and thinking, oh, this is fun. He's singing along. He's getting involved in the party. And now all I can think of is listening to his voice playing at the same time as Axl Rose. And I'm just like, he's horrible.
Yeah, he's absolutely terrible. But there's one thing I couldn't stop thinking about in this scene, towards the end of it anyway, and about how the unpopular kid is now popular. And looking at what popularity does to people in this film, I'm very curious to see where this goes, because I didn't remember. But I just assumed it was going to corrupt him.
That's what you were focused on?
Yeah.
I was focused on how that microphone popped up after him.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Did somebody toss it up to him? Was it
Most
on a
likely.
string?
I think I'm giving this film too much weight.
It looks cool, but
you're coming at it from a completely opposite perspective.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it, man. Try it.
I did, man. I tried to have so much fun with this movie, and it was just sigh after sigh after sigh. Okay, did you have fun with this movie?
I choose to refrain from commenting.
Okay, I assume we'll talk about it at the end.
Well, that's kind of what I go for every time.
I don't know. This whole structure is new to me.
We've only done it 100 times.
More bonding between Kenny and Denise in the bathroom. Again, great chemistry between the two. I really enjoyed Kenny finally dropping his shtick. It was nice to see him as a legit character for a change.
Glad to see him drop that shtick.
And it comes back, but
I know, but it was terrible, and I'm just glad that it ended. Actually, there was one part earlier that I forgot to mention, and I was going to do it now because forget structure this episode. There's a scene where his two buddies ask him in the kitchen if he's, making any progress. Shouldn't he already be with someone? And he says, I'm just waiting while these two honeys scratch it out over who gets to knock the boots with me.
Yep.
And he kind of shoves his one friend. His friend shoves him back. They kind of just argue amongst each other a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
After the second push from the guy on the left, if you look closely, and I had to rewind it a few times because I couldn't help myself, the guy on the right is trying so hard not to laugh. And you can even see the side of his lip curls up, and it's just the most telling he's gonna laugh that I've seen in so long. And it's subtle, but it's definitely there. And again, this is just to continue my paying attention to really awkward things.
That's fine. Speaking of the pushing back and forth, though, it seemed incredibly aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Not like friends at all, though. So it's really making me wonder what these two guys actually think of Kenny.
See, because that's the thing. They almost try to make it like he is the leader of this group.
And that's how it's presented initially. But it seems like they push him around.
Yeah, there's so many times after where it looks like he's that kid who's just trying to impress them and fit in with them.
Yeah.
So not the leader. And I don't know what they're going for here.
I know what they're going for when we cut to the backyard and Mike meets Trip McNeely, played by
McNeely.
Jerry O'Connell, my secret identity, or Sliders for most people. And this guy is basically Mike's ghost of Christmas yet to come. Trip broke up with his high school girlfriend before college for the exact same reason as Mike. The misogyny in the scene is fucking next level. Mm-hmm. Lines like how college women, they talk about world issues and ecological crap. They all want to date older guys. Guys like us are a dime a dozen. Yeah, man, an inflated ego is not your friend. The panic, though, on Mike's face after the conversation's over is gold.
Good.
Yeah, but what does he do? Time to try and get back together with Amanda. And I've seen this successfully done before. I can't believe it happens. Luckily not in this movie.
No, Amanda's too smart for that. She only fell for it for 4 years.
You're right, man. I can't defend that at all. There is one thing that I missed before in this movie, and that was a reference to Dazed and Confused.
Oh, okay.
When Amanda's questioning the stoners, one of which is Jason Segel, about who Preston is, one of them ends up on a rant about Velma from Scooby-Doo, calling her a hip, hip lady, which is, Rory Cochran's line about Martha Washington in Dazed and Confused. And this is a major faceplant for me here. Like, the movie's rough already. Don't reference a film that is so similar but does a better job. I love movies that take place in the course of one day or one night, but this is so similar to other movies we have covered before and definitely far from the best one. Amanda shuts Mike down hard in what becomes the main focus of everybody in the room.
I mean, she tries to be really nice about it. Like, she tells him, like, you're drunk. Save yourself the embarrassment. Don't do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe listen to her, you dummy.
And he doesn't, and she gets pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Well,
she's finally smartened up after 4 years.
Finally. And then I'm so uncomfortable. The amount of guys that just start hitting on her immediately afterwards.
Yeah. Well, the first guy is not even subtle about it. He's like, you want to go to my van and turn that frown upside down? Like, wow, you not even subtle about this at all. It's like Mike Barnes looking guy. And then the next one is the stoner with the curly hair who just kind of loses it halfway through and starts telling her how he wants to see her naked. Although, side point, maybe it should have been Jason Segel in that one because he's clearly infatuated with melons. And then the third one is the story guy who reminisces and tells her that he had a big boner when they were dancing, which... And he...
Fuck right off, dude.
He says, I never told you, but I had the biggest boner, and I thought maybe we could go and work something out. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, have you ever spoke to a woman before? And at that point, you can understand why she's getting so frustrated, right? Like, she hasn't even crossed the room yet.
Yeah. And that's when our boy Preston returns and pours his heart out. And of course, she thinks he's just another one of these jerks and emotionally destroys him with, why don't you just go and get yourself a goddamn life, asshole?
Yeah, I felt so bad for our guy there. He's so heartbroken.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was feeling pretty stoked for her. William finally remembers the plan and tries to fake console Mike and follow through. They fucking got me with Mike and his face on the mantle above the fireplace, like his head in his arms, crying. I'm like, oh my...
Get you?
Well, I was like, holy shit, I'm starting to feel bad for this piece of shit. And,
no.
And then I know, but he like confesses about how he's a loser and how he's fucked up. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You are a fucking asshole, man. You just feel bad because you're realizing it now.
Yeah.
The hug with William is interesting though. And I'm not entirely sure if we're supposed to believe that he needs somebody or if this is just a swerve by the writers. Cut to Kenny and Denise making out in the bathroom, sure. I'm starting to think you're right that Yearbook Girl is more of an actual character in this movie because this is how Amanda realizes who Preston is.
Yes. She's been there the whole time, right? Obviously, they set it up that there's this yearbook making the rounds, but kind of, we'll say eluding Amanda too, because, at some point it gets thrown in the garbage, right? Maybe Amanda would have seen it sooner if that wasn't the case, but they keep this yearbook kind of fresh in your mind. And eventually Amanda's like, right, I can look in here to find out who Preston is rather than trying to quiz a bunch of drunken-eyed people.
Yeah, and you're right. It is actually very smart writing. That's something that's there throughout the film actually pays off for advancing the plot.
Mm-hmm.
She immediately realized it. What? Sorry?
I mean, theoretically, the whole movie moves forward the plot, but I guess what you meant was well.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying. Because honestly, man, like this fucking movie, dude, I don't want any of the side stories. Just give me the Amanda Preston storyline.
Yes. Okay. So we had the yearbook part. Let's Turn the page on that one and move on.
Oh, fuck. How many is that? 4 or 5 now?
I don't know.
Anyway, Preston driving off, and the music playing is Romeo and Juliet by Dire Straits, which again makes me think of Empire Records, which, much like Dazed and Confused, is a better movie. But is that an intentional reference? Because it's used in a similar way, and all of the movies came out within 5 years of each other, and Ethan Embry was in Empire Records in the scene where the song was playing. So I'm just going to keep moving on.
He must just really like that song and constantly insist that they use it.
Oh, he doesn't even remember.
At the time, he liked it, though. That's the
Probably
thing.
loved it.
He might not remember it, but he definitely asked for it. That's what happened.
Drunken bonding between Mike and William at the piano, where Mike apologizes for his past wrongdoings, which were really just earlier that day.
I kind of like that part, actually.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, you remember when I tripped you in front of all those people and embarrassed you? Yeah? I'm sorry about that. When was that again? This morning at graduation. All right. This guy is drunk.
Oh, yeah. Love Burger patched things up for a reunion show.
Yeah, nothing big, just a few new songs, mostly old hits.
Yeah, I did laugh at that.
Of course.
Kenny and Denise have sex in the bathroom. And the police finally show up. I don't know what took them so long. Because this has been a goddamn madhouse all night.
Well, you figure Preston was talking to the angel at 2 a.m. It's got to be like close to 3 a.m. at this point. And this party is out of control. You would have thought there'd be like a noise complaint or something well prior.
There is one part here. One of the few times I've laughed in this movie. I want to see if you can guess what it is. As soon as the police show up. Yes. William starts playing like chase music on the piano.
Yeah, from what you would hear in like a Western, right? Like a chase. I loved it. You know, Mike is like, the cops, let's go. And he starts playing.
Mike's like, no. And I has to pull him away.
Yeah, I loved it. And it was such a like Western chase scene song or a saloon or something like that. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I do love to talk about music, how this is where we get Damn It by Blink-182. A definite staple.
Great fast-paced song to kind of build up the action of the scene with everybody fleeing.
Yeah, and a song that I listened to all the time in high school. Mm-hmm. Mike tells William to escape to the pool house, unknowingly carrying out William's original plan. And William tries to stop him, but they are jumped by William's nerd friends from the roof, who've been there this whole time. The unconscious boys are stripped and photographed. But then the nerds realize it's William, panic, and flee.
Way to help your buddy out.
That's what I was thinking. Upon realization, wouldn't you be like, oh shit, and like, you know, throw one of his arms around your neck and try and like run off with him?
Just try something. They don't even try to like lift him and then, oh no, the cops are too close. We gotta let him go and flee, right? Like there's literally zero attempt.
No. Jesus Christ, Mason. Post-coital scene in the bathroom. Awkward conversation about Kenny's performance. What's your thought here?
I mean, I felt bad for him because, and this could be Seth Green's acting more than the actual like character, but the way that his face drops when she says like, oh, it could be longer, and this, like, you can see she just insulted him so bad. And clearly this whole like, you know, white gangster attitude of his is a defense mechanism. It's trying to hide his insecurities from the world. So he immediately reverts back to that. And later he's the one that apologizes. And throughout all of those scenes, in my mind, I'm like, she should really be the one to apologize. Especially when they confront each other on the
disagree.
Fair enough. You're allowed to disagree. But when they like face each other on the street after she leaves, I want him to just say like, I'm sorry, I was really hurt or something. But he just says sorry.
I find it weird that you think she insults him. And if she does, I think it's completely unintentional because
It is
she's
unintentional, but it doesn't mean
seeing
it
the
doesn't
look
hurt.
on his face. And she's trying, though. She's trying to console him.
She's trying to backtrack is what she's doing.
She's not trying to
realize that what she
backtrack.
said.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, she knows that that's not a nice thing to say, even if it is factually correct. And she sees the hurt on his face and is trying to reel it back. When really she could have just said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way.
Yes, that's true. But she's also in a very uncomfortable situation.
Of course. But that doesn't, free you of any wrongdoing. You can't, insult someone like that and just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was in the same awkward situation you were. That must make it okay. Sorry, Mason, I'm not agreeing with you on this one.
They do apologize to each other eventually, but
I will give it that I do like that the writing essentially made it that he says sorry and so does she, and they don't say why. It's kind of like a mutual understanding where she she does know that what she said was very hurtful to him, whether it's factually correct or not. So the fact that they didn't try to make it a little bit more of a one-sided apology with him kind of explaining himself and just let it where it's both of them just have it as an unsaid apology did make it a little bit better.
Yes. And I think we can both agree that this is a perfect example of an awkward conversation between two awkward, uncomfortable teenagers, both being offended.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. I love that we came at that from two totally different sides, though.
Yeah, I know, but she offended him first.
Oh, fuck off.
All right.
Very hungover William wakes up in a holding cell, terrified that his parents are there to pick him up. And I am very confused by what happens next. The officer tells him that Mike confessed to beating him up and making him drink alcohol, which led to the pictures. And again, I'm led to believe, are we supposed to be getting some sort of redemption arc? And I think, no. I think this is just an apology.
Yes. It's not meant to be like, oh, we now understand one another. I think it really is just like a, hey, I realize that I did you wrong by constantly bullying you. I'm not going to change. You're not going to change. But this is my apology. Now never talk to me again.
Yeah, which I think is also ruined when they encounter each other next.
Yes, but
before that, Preston and Denise meet up the next morning and recount the previous night. This is what I was complaining about earlier with Preston. His harsh change of faith, now thinking that there is no such thing as fate, could be the saving grace of the movie. But he fucking ruins it with the line of, it would have been cool to make out with her, though.
Yeah, he's just trying to use humor as an awkward cover for his heartbreak.
Yes, and I get that completely, but
I'm not saying it's done well. I'm just saying that that's clearly the intention here is, hey, I'll try to lighten the mood and not let you see how, devastated I am.
Yeah, and at the time, this is pure humor, for sure. I think this might be one of the few films we've covered that have aged the worst.
I don't know about that. Can you remember some of the movies we saw recently?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Mike and boys are at a diner. William arrives, and this is what I was talking about. Thanks him for covering for him. But Mike is still the same old Mike, insulting and mocking him.
Yeah, see, this is William being an idiot, because if you're as smart as you are, you should know that that's not going anywhere. That's not gonna all of a sudden him being your buddy, right? Mm-hmm. You should have just and they have it where after he kind of gets pushed away by Mike there, and as he's walking out, before they do the still shot, you can kind of see that he kind of smiles back because he knows. He's like, all right, that was just his way of saying sorry, but we're going in different paths.
Exactly. You summed it up really well when we were talking about it at the jail cell. But yeah, it was a sorry, and I'm sorry, an apology, but let's never speak again kind of thing. We're done for. The freeze frame, the what happened to these characters in the future segments are all dumb. I don't like
mind
any
them.
of them. Really?
I don't hate them. I don't love them. They're all right. I mean, I like the ones more like the Denise and Kenny one, where it doesn't go into like their future, right? Like,
Yeah.
William becomes like a millionaire, which the smart kid becomes a computer pioneer, right? Like whatever.
He's also dating a supermodel.
Mike continues on his ways and is overweight and loses his scholarship. And like those, I don't need to get into depth with that stuff because we're not following these characters beyond that. But I like the Denise and Kenny one where it's like they broke up 5 minutes later. 10 minutes later, they found a bathroom and got back together. It's like, that's all I need. Like, just
that's pretty fun.
Like, give me short term, just a little bit of a, like a joke type thing there, and that's fine. You should have even done like a still frame when you see the guy behind stealing the bubblegum container. Like a little thing for him. You'd like pick a random character that wasn't like a major character.
Clive Owen became a successful actor.
Yeah, sure. Why not, right? But just something like that. Throw in a random one from like a nothing character, or even like a Love Burger became like a multi-million selling band or something, right? Just stupid. Don't try to like build a sort of future for these characters. Like we're never going to see them again, right? Just give me a few little niceties, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't have a good term for what I'm trying to say, but
I get what you're saying. And I think, again, I can't help but compare this movie to other movies that did things better. And this is right out of Animal House again. But, Sandra, now we get to the end of the film. And I don't want to call this a film. Movie. This is a movie. Amanda tracks Preston down at the train station just before he's about to depart for Boston.
Right. He has a workshop with Kurt Vonnegut.
Yes. Super awkward conversation. How do you feel about the end of this movie? How do you feel about this scene?
I feel like it's a scene that I watched in a movie. What are you getting at?
Yeah, because that's what it turned into. It's just a throwaway. Like they could have had a perfect ending to this movie and actually.
Like, what do you want me to say here? That this scene derailed the movie?
Oh, at a train station, I like it.
Yeah.
But no, like this movie is fucking weak, man. And they could have let it end on a decent film note here. There's obvious attraction between the two. Preston has to leave. Can you
blame them? Look at them. What a beautiful couple.
Very good looking individuals. Preston has to leave though, and Amanda says maybe she should just be single for a while.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. She turns and walks away, and he heads to the train. Just end the movie there. The sad yet perfect unrealized romance. That's great. That's gravity this film needed the entire fucking time.
Just have the freeze card say that when he got back, they got together and we're going to see what happened. You don't even say they ended up together. Just say when he got back, she was eager to see him and they, decided to go on a date. Right?
I don't think you need any of that. Like we've already gotten those little bits about the futures of the other characters. Let this one remain a mystery. Because it's all about like them not having their paths cross after the one almost like encounter that he clings to. But them having that encounter and nothing actually coming from it is a perfect way to finish this movie. But instead, he drops his bags and runs after her. They kiss, he catches a later train, and then we get that on-screen text now telling us that she wrote him a letter for every day that he was away and that they're still together now. They don't know each other.
Oh, they knew each other better than we thought.
I guess so.
He knew her for more than just Mike's girlfriend.
Apparently.
I'm disappointed in you, man.
So fate exists now?
Of course. It always has. It just works in really messed up ways.
I would love to believe that, man. I really would. But I have no reason to.
Denise said it in front of the restaurant. She does believe in it now. The one that you didn't think, the skeptic, the one that was the voice of reason the whole time is the one that turned. So, the fate's there. Yeah.
I didn't even pick up on that. That's a very good point.
It just works in really messed up ways because she ended up with Kenny.
Probably the best couple in the movie, though. Cut to high school yearbook photo credits, end of movie, except for a mid-credit scene that I said we weren't going to talk about because it's so fucking stupid, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Why is this here?
I don't know.
Why is this here? The whole movie has nothing supernatural in it, and then all of a sudden these two guys are being abducted by aliens. Like, why? Who is this for?
I have no idea.
What potential audience did you have when you were making this movie clearly intended for teenagers that needed to have, like, it's not even clever. It doesn't even tie into anything that they were hinting at or talking about the entire time. It's just a complete throwaway scene that starts and ends here.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with anything.
Nope.
And after being so disappointed with how this movie ended, having that come right afterwards is so insulting.
It's questionable.
My last note here just says, I don't know. I think that's a decent take on the movie for me.
Okay.
Before we get into awards or numbers or anything like that, man.
Yeah.
I was looking this up on Wikipedia earlier when I was doing some research. Yeah, it probably is. But Danny Pellegrino has a podcast called Everything Iconic, and it's interesting from time to time. Jennifer Love Hewitt was on there. This is like 3 years ago, saying that she's developing Can't Hardly Wait 2 and is going to direct it. And it's going to be the story of a reunion of everybody from high school from this movie.
That'd be crazy. Can you imagine? Because like you were saying, the amount of people that they had on this movie that were establishing themselves to now have them on there, that'd be a heck of a cast.
It'd be the most bloated budget in film history, probably.
I mean, unless some of them are willing to just do it because they loved it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to pay me a lot of money. I'll just show up
to scale.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, because, this very well could be, important to a lot of these people, right? Oh, this was a movie where I met some good friends, or I got my career off the ground, or, hey, everybody else is doing it, right? Like, I don't want to be the cast member that doesn't show up, right? Like,
yeah. I'm curious to know what the movie would be. It would have to be so completely different.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious. I kind of want it to happen. Okay, budget time. Let's talk numbers. Take a guess. How much do you think this cost? Remember, relative unknowns for the most part.
$12 million.
That's right in the middle. It's somewhere between. They're saying between 10 and 13.
Okay, all right.
And how much did it make?
40.
No. Just over 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I expected the ratings to be a lot higher. And then I watched the movie and immediately understood. IMDb, what do you think everyone gave it out of 10? Keep in mind, these are just viewers, really.
5.8.
6.5, pretty close.
Yeah, okay.
Critics for Rotten Tomatoes?
41.
40.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on the right page. And the audience?
72.
63. Pretty much the same as IMDb. It didn't... I mean, like, above average.
Going in the right direction for all of them.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, obviously, it's the audience that likes this movie. It's above average. Critics, definitely not. And honest, with reason, man. But hopping into awards, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what we're going to pick for any of these.
Well, you don't need to know because you start.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we'll agree on the first one.
All right, what did you have for least favorite character?
Cousin Ron. Yeah, I mean, what a piece of shit.
What a piece of shit. That shirt alone.
That was the warning, Sandro. The actions were much more disturbing.
Yes.
I'm assuming you picked the same?
No. But, I mean, I heavily considered it. I think the only reason that I didn't pick him was just he wasn't in the movie as much. Not that he wasn't in it at all, mind you. I mean, you know what? Maybe I should pick him. played up being a relative that was lending an ear just to freaking pounce on her. Like, that's despicable.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I'll go with him.
Who did you originally pick?
I had Mike, but I mean, it was just more of a like, you know, this guy sprinted to the finish where Mike marathoned the assholeness to the end.
Yeah, and we are meant to believe him to be an asshole.
And he is.
Like,
he absolutely is. It's not like you can say that either a bad choice, but when I say it like that, it definitely should be this guy. Yeah.
What about favorite character?
Oh, that's an easy one. That's Preston Myers. I mean, Ethan Embry is just so damn lovable. I don't care what you say.
He is amazing in everything. Even when he's playing a darker character, he's impossible not to like.
Yeah.
Preston is such a dreamer. That I love it. I love the character, but he is very problematic at the same time because he's completely delusional.
I still stand behind being a dreamer is like the least evil out of all of the other things they made these male characters out to be.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, for sure. My God, he is by far the best of any of the male characters in the movie. But yeah. I mean, what else can you really say about Preston? Ethan Embry's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about you, seemingly not, but like I wanted to see him happy, whether that looked like him succeeding with Amanda or not ending up with her, but at least discovering something about himself through his journey. I just wanted to see Preston happy at the end of the movie. That's to me, that was just a sign that this is a great character because no matter what situations he was in, I was rooting for him.
Yeah. Me too. And I mean, at the end of the movie, we were starting to see that both Amanda and Preston were starting to grow, but they were just starting. And that's why I don't like how they wrapped everything up with a little bow at the end. But yeah, I wish there was more of a journey for the character. Because Ethan Embry definitely has the acting talent for it.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic in this.
Memorable line, oddly enough for me, is from Jenna Elfman on blanking on what to say to Scott Baio. And the line is that just like fate, there is fate, but it only takes you so far because once it's there, it's up to you to make it happen. Fully believe that.
Oh, okay. So you went with a little bit more of a deep line here.
Well, it's inspirational for me. What did you do?
Kenny.
Special K.
Special K. When he and Denise are in the bathroom talking.
Yeah.
And it's the part where they're specifically talking about each other's appearances. And there's just something about the way that Seth Green delivers it. But when he's like, the shoes, those shoes. She's like, what's wrong with them? And he just stops and almost like dead serious is like, do they serve an orthopedic function? And I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think I've actually used that line in real life before.
The delivery is phenomenal.
Absolutely
I laughed at that too.
Phenomenal. And it's just his ability to so quickly change the tone of his conversation when he does it. It just makes that line stand out so much more with such a wonderful comedic delivery of it.
Mm-hmm. Memorable scene, though.
Not scene. Moment. Because it's not even an entire scene.
Okay.
It is when Preston is talking to Denise before he leaves. And she asks him, did you? And he nods. And she says, oh, yeah. Well, what happened? And my moment is him shaking his head no. That
probably the most powerful moment.
The emotion that he conveyed in his facial expression, in the way that he shook his head. I don't know if it was just the speed at which he did it, the disappointment. But in that moment, like my heart broke for this guy. I could feel his pain. And at the same time, as much as I question how him and Denise are friends, they prove that they're good at friends because she knows through all of that what it meant to him. And it's just a simple shake of the head no.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were to pick best scene as well as memorable scene, that would be best scene, hands down. It is one of the strongest moments of the entire film.
I wouldn't say scene, just because it's surrounded by a lot of that talk of fate and the jokes and her hooking up with Kenny, and it's like, yeah, this is just like a diamond in the rough of this scene, but
yeah,
fair.
But we're talking memorable scene for me, and I'm not going to go into it because we've already talked about it a lot, and it is the ending at the train station. It was okay, but it could have been so much better. And I think it had it ended the way I wanted the movie to, I would probably enjoy the film a lot more.
Speaking of which, what would you say were your overall thoughts on Can't Hardly Wait?
That's a real tough one. This is a bad movie. It did not hold up at all, which is a shame because almost everybody in this movie is fantastic at what they do. They're wonderful actors. I think this is more just a time capsule of late 90s teenage culture, and I don't think it was trying to be anything more. I would really love to see what, somebody like a 17 or 18-year-old would. I'd love to hear what they would think of this movie today had they never seen it before, and just see how different they are, how ridiculous they think it is. There are parts I enjoy, and there is a massive amount of nostalgia I have for this movie, but it's not good. I would never recommend this to anybody who. No, I just wouldn't recommend it, man. It's a weird pick for a 100th episode. I apologize for it, but that's on me. I'll eat that one on the chin.
Don't apologize. I made you watch Dragonlance a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck you, man. What do you think? What are your overall thoughts on this?
I love this movie. I still love this movie to this day. I don't care. I watch it again right now.
Really?
I love this movie.
Fuck, I wish I could come at it with that perspective, man.
I don't know if it's nostalgia more than anything, but I don't know if it's a positive or a negative, but I can't take myself out of nostalgia to look at this one any differently. I love the movie. I mean, this was a period of time where I thought Ethan Embry could do no wrong. I still don't know if he can do any wrong.
No,
I loved Seth Green, although the Kenny character was a little irksome. I mean, teenage me is going to love Jennifer Love Hewitt no matter what.
Well, yeah.
I think even more so now going back and watching it. Like when I was a kid, I didn't know that was Selma Blair. I didn't know that was Sarah Rue that was cutting the beer can holders, but it made it even more enjoyable now to watch it and see all of these people that I knew that went on to other things that I loved.
That was fun, yeah.
Before I knew it, and I still enjoyed the story, like overall. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of parts that watching it this time versus watching it when I was younger that made me kind of cringe a little, and I was like, geez, they're not getting away with that today.
No, there's a lot of that.
But at the same time, like I said, I can't take myself out of the nostalgia for this. I love this movie.
That's
I won't
awesome,
recommend it. I definitely think that someone today is going to have a lot more issues with the things that we let slide by.
Oh, yeah.
But I still love this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely one I'm going to have to revisit at another time because I don't know what changed, but it just, I don't know, man. It's not the fun time I remember it being.
All right, so that's our thoughts on Can't Hardly Wait. If you want to share your thoughts with us on our 100th episode, you can hit us up on social media. We are at BS Bargain Bin on Twitter, Facebook.com/BS Bargain Bin. Leave a comment in the comment sections on YouTube. We'll try our best to respond if we can. Or just go to bsbargainbin.com and find the links to everything we do, including our merchandise, which, as Ben said, we got some sweet BS Bargain Bin shirts just out there waiting to be picked up. Ben.
Yes.
Next week, we are finally going to get to our December fan pick, which was, I'm sorry, was pushed aside for some other things due to scheduling, but we're still going to get it in December. What is that movie we're watching next week?
Well, first off, who picked this one, Sandro? I don't have the name written down right here.
It's Derek.
Derek!
The person
Wonderful
who
Derek.
recommended to us The Last Dragon, Bloodsport, and now his third pick successfully being voted on.
Yeah, and another banger from Derek, man, because we'll be talking 1985's Rocky IV.
Today, the Soviet Union has officially entered professional boxing.
This is not just an exhibition fight. This is us against them.
He would like to compete against anyone who is qualified.
Drago is the most perfectly trained athlete ever. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
He could have stopped the fight. He could have saved his best friend's life.
I'll never forget you, opponent.
But now, the one thing he can't do is walk away.
Has the fight date been set yet?
December 25th.
Where?
It's in Russia.
Are you nuts?
Miss Balboa, when will you be going to Russia?
I'm not going to Russia. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's had one professional fight, and one man is dead.
Tabibi, he's going to have to kill me.
Why can't you change your thinking?
Because I'm a fighter.
You can't win!
I must break you.
Rocky IV.
Until next week, have a good one.
All the best.